Are you living in the middle of a miracle? In Luke chapter 12, beginning with verse 13, Jesus is asked by a person to help divide the inheritance that's taking place with the will being apparently divvied out in a family. Jesus says, "Who made me an arbiter or who made me a judge over you?" And then he says, "Beware and be on your guard against every form of greed, for not even when one has an abundance does one's life consist of one's possessions." Then he starts to tell a story. A certain man's land prospered, and he tore down his barns and built bigger ones. Let's pause. The man was living in the midst of a miracle. God had abundantly provided for his property. God was giving him lavish return on his crops. Everything was flourishing. And then the man wisely plans ahead. And he says, "I'll tear down my barns and build bigger ones, and then I'll retire and rest. I'll say, eat, drink, and be merry, take your ease." So he's living in the midst of a miracle, and he even can retire early. A couple questions arise. I wonder, did he tithe? Jesus doesn't say either way. Did he share with his friends? Jesus doesn't say either way. Did he share with the needy? Jesus doesn't say either way. Did he give some extra to the synagogue? Jesus doesn't say either way. We don't actually know how he managed the miracle he was in the midst of. Let's pause. I'm talking to you via a computer screen with electric lights in a climate-controlled room, sleeping in a climate-controlled apartment. You know what? I'm living in the midst of a miracle too. The miracle of abundance we have has become so ordinary to us, so common to us, that we don't realize that we're living in the midst of things that ancient kings would have longed to have had, and that we're living in the midst of things that are abundant beyond the dreams of many in the world today. We're not, for instance, in the South Sudan trying to gather water lilies to live. Yes, we're living in the midst of a miracle. And whatever irritations, whatever troubles we have, when we forget we're living in the midst of a miracle, we're likely to get our eyes too much on our possessions instead of the giver of the possessions. The man builds bigger barns, the man can retire early, but God's going to have something to say to him about the miracle he's in the midst of. Lord willing, let's talk about that a little bit tomorrow. This is your daily devotional for Thursday. I hope you're doing well. Hope you'll seek first the kingdom of God and pray for the church and pray for me. Hope you'll pray for our eyes to be opened to the miracles, plural, that we're in the midst of. God bless you as you serve him today.